Video recording for EDUKWEST is provided by Whatburner. Take Skype video to the next level. Record, edit, upload at vodburner.com.
Hello, another week, another EduQuest, and as always we are on the search for better education. My name is Kirsten Winkler, and today I'm joined by Derek Muller, and he is the founder of Veritasium. Derek, welcome to EduQuest.
Well, thank you for having me on.
So let's dig into your personal vita a little bit. I read about you, and Veritasium, maybe in one sentence we could summarize, so bringing physics maybe into the Web 2.0 experience.
Wow, that puts it better than I would have, I think. No, for me, the idea started as like a word of the day type thing, but for science. So to try to explain a scientific concept in a short, video that everyone could appreciate.
And is this sort of in your research for your PhD? As I read, it's scientific, but sort of figuring out or researching what possibilities there are with Web 2.0 and social media and just in this new learning environment, or did it actually came after your PhD?
Well, my PhD was done at the University of Sydney, and I was part of the physics education research group there. So I saw an opportunity to merge a lot of my passions, which are, education, film, media, sort of new technologies. So everything kind of came together there, and I wanted to look at how does one actually produce an effective educational resource. And I looked at a very simple snippet, just 7-minute videos, 5-minute videos, 10-minute videos about scientific topics, and I was assessing it at how effective they were for learning. So I was designing a bunch of different ones and trying them with students, and I was looking in the literature to see what is normally effective, and then trying to see if I could assess how learning was happening about that, specifically in the area of physics, first year, second year physics at the university. Yeah.
And how long have it been existing? Is it more or less 1 year now, or are you actually producing
Veritasium?
for a longer time? Yeah.
Veritasium's only about, I guess, 7 or 8 months old now. So I did my PhD, I finished about 3 years ago, and sort of in that time I've also been working for a tutoring company, and I've been sort of thinking about the ideas I was working on in my PhD, but finally I sort of got the opportunity to dedicate a lot of time to making these online videos. When I had that opportunity, I thought, yeah, I want to go out there and I want to, use what I've learned in the research to make effective educational videos in science. So a lot of that involves talking to people and sort of bringing out alternative conceptions and seeing not that they are stupid or ridiculous, but that they are important starting points for where we should start teaching the science from. Because if we assume people know nothing, it gets us seemingly into trouble with online education.
And now online education is very international, we could say. However, I know there's quite a bit going on in Australia on both I probably know better the startup side than the governmental or university side. What was the acceptance like when then somebody came and said, okay, we need to deliver physics in a new experience and make it therefore hopefully more comprehensive, interactive, and just students probably need a new way and then digest it better or refresh it or
There are those, constant tensions out there between, new ways of teaching that have been proposed by physics education researchers the world over. And in Australia, I think it's similar. There are a lot of researchers here who would like to see, more active hands-on, minds-on type activities. But at the same time, there's, sort of, I guess, economical reasons why, a lot of teaching is done in the same traditional ways. So, lectures are run in very similar ways, and labs and recitation sessions. So I don't know how, Australia is probably doing similar things to the rest of the world where, there's a dedicated group that would like to see, exciting, new, challenging, interactive ways of teaching and learning science, and then there's sort of an older, method which is, as I say, more economical, and it is still what prevails in a lot of situations here.
Mm-hmm. And I see that a little bit when I started looking more in what was going on in e-learning or disrupting education or whatever term you want to give it. Was in 2007, 2008, and it was all about languages, and I think part of it was just the technical challenges, at least for live teaching. And well, as technology evolves, what I now see is that it goes a little bit more into mathematics, definitely, but also in the other sciences, and then into programming. What do you think are the reasons? I mean, because video production one could have done before without too many challenges. I mean, a lot of things changed around online video within the last 3 years, that's true, but why do you think it is this wave now that we see more and more science stuff put online and also done in a really professional way?
Well, that's a pretty complicated question. I mean, when I went to do my PhD, one of the questions I had was, the questions I'm asking about what makes a good educational video and how to make a good educational video, these types of questions should have been answered 100 years ago when they had, films, they had motion pictures, so why weren't these questions asked and answered at that point, or even when TV became commonplace and there were lots of televised programs? And it seems when I go back through the literature, I see that people just automatically assumed that the new technology was going to be better. Thomas Edison said, motion pictures will produce 100% learning efficiency compared to textbooks which produce 2% learning efficiency. I have no idea where he comes up with these numbers, but, it just seemed like such a good intuitive argument that we can, use these new technologies to teach better than ever before. But for some reason, the tough questions about how do we design these videos, those types of questions weren't really answered. So on the one hand, I feel like research has becoming more mature in this area as more and more people go online. So I think that's one aspect of it. But I think another big aspect is the availability that a lot of people have, or the accessibility that a lot of people have to high quality recording equipment, editing equipment. And also, I guess there's an idea of a cognitive surplus, this idea that, people are not completely occupied by their jobs. There is that ability think about other things. I mean, at the moment, I work only about 13 hours a week to do, to bring in income so that I can support myself. And the rest of the time I spend, focusing on Veritasium. So, as I say, it's that cognitive surplus, that idea that I have the time, I have the energy, and I have, a passion to make these films. And I think there are many other educators like me who, have similar interests and really want to get out there, and we are able to do it. It's within our means, great recording equipment and editing software, and so we can get our ideas out there and keep sort of working at making them better, because that's always my goal.
And do you really think that in the amongst the educators that technical education is already that far advanced? I mean, probably at people with at our age, Yes, although I think you pretty much have to educate yourself. The equipment is there, but how to use it? I mean, when I started with Deutschhappen in 2008, I was pretty much alone. There were a few more like students, I would say, who produced online video on YouTube, but just talking about like bringing German more to other folks in their age group, I would say. And then you had, of course, a few educators, but due to this ecosystem of YouTube, and it can be pretty harsh. I think if you're very open with your comments and likes and dislikes, I would say at least. Yeah, it's probably not the ideal or perfect environment for doing something in education. But I mean, that's okay because you can reach out to so many people. But I, for myself, decided that I have to be a little bit that I direct it in the direction I want, and that I moderate, and that I'm not completely open with my channel. So I found that particularly some of the educators who were very sincere and also professional in what they did, but after maybe 2 or 3 videos, they got all those negative feedback that they just said, okay, I quit with YouTube, and that's not what I have to do to myself.
It's a challenge, isn't it? I mean, I get a lot of, you get comments from all sorts of different people, and I think you need to be a little bit thick-skinned and just say, there's some people out there who perhaps aren't happy with things, and so they feel the need to comment negatively. But yeah, there's also some, a lot of great comments, a lot of inspirational comments. So, I've been lucky to receive some of those and feel really, inspired and motivated to keep making more videos.
Yeah, I think you really have to come over a certain point, and you then get also the nice comments, and people start subscribing, and you also see probably how to deal with YouTube and some of their audience, and then I think if you're really passionate about what you do, there's always a way, and you always keep going. So at least that was for me like that. And coming back to the being educated about technology and how to produce professional video. Now, as you're the expert, and I know that a lot of educators are interested, but a little bit still sort of worried or afraid if they can handle it, and they somehow, when I talk with some other people, maybe a little bit more established, they go a little bit back on the old technology and tell me I have just adjusted to this and that, so I don't want to change again. And in your what's your take? How would you tell to somebody in our audience how to produce a professional video?
Wow. Well, perhaps the first thing is not to get too hung up with making it professional from the start. I mean, you do the best you can, and you sort of learn as you go. And I've always been learning as I went along. I started making videos in about 2002, but these were not Veritasium videos. These were just sort of fun videos with my friends at university. So, that's how I got into it. And I'm sure that my first videos weren't very good. And I guess the best advice that I've heard, and the best advice I could give is, the more you do it, the better you get, and you just have to start somewhere, and not let that intimidation stop you from making the first step, because that is the important first step. And you do 1 or 2, and you see some things that work, and then you try to build on those, and you keep going. I still find myself stuck with that block of I see the subscriber list going up, and then I start thinking, oh, you know, I have some pressure to really produce something that I'm really, really proud of here. So, yeah, it's always, I think it never stops. That constant feeling that I need to get better and I need to push myself and work with new techniques and things, and you just experiment. I think it's generally fun, and maybe sometimes it's not going to work, but you know, you just have to accept that failure is part of achieving success at the end. So. That's what I'd suggest.
Yeah, and I mean, if I look at your videos over time, so they definitely become, you integrated now more this even more witty side to it, and you go out and you do an experiment with with a partner, for example, and so yeah, probably. What people also need to realize is that it's a lot of effort for then a short video. I don't know how many hours you shoot, but it's definitely longer than the final result then. And from the technical perspective, I would definitely agree that you have to educate yourself a little bit with the programs and how to use them. What works for you? So, for example, so for the people in our audience, what programs do you use and what equipment?
I'm using Final Cut Pro. I'm using the new version X, on a Mac, on an iMac, and it's quite good. I think it's still buggy, but it seems to be quicker to me to put things together. And the video quality is extraordinary. Yeah. I'm working with a video camera, which is a Panasonic large chip camera. It came out in, I think, December last year. See if I've got it here for you. It's
it's quite at least semi-professional already.
That's right. That's right. It's an AF100, and it's meant to sort of give a nice, very filmic look and feel. And so I actually switched over halfway through doing the Veritasium films, and I think you can see, you know, when it goes from being sort of an older and the color is not as good to that. And also, you know, the key piece of equipment for me was the wireless microphone. I felt like I couldn't get by without that because you know, often with me, I'm shooting myself in a location, and I may want to be far from the camera, so I set up the camera somewhere, I set it recording, and I run around and go where I'm going to be to shoot it, and just to get great audio. You know, I've got this friend in London, she works in broadcasting, and she says to me, you know, Derek, you know, more than anything, the audio has to be good, because, you know, good vision, that's great, but what sort of really feels still amateur about a lot of productions is the sound quality. Make sure your sound quality is good. So for her, I've been on this constant quest to really make the sound quality excellent. So I had a wireless sort of clip-on mic, which was fantastic, even if people insulted it because it looked so small when I was interviewing people with it. But to get the sound was the thing I wanted. And then I finally upgraded and got a handheld sort of performance mic. But that one I'm not so happy with the sound quality because it's a bit directional. Anyway, so I can say just have one wireless mic that you're really happy with that gets great sound quality. That's the best advice I could give.
As we see, you really have those professional ambitions, and I think not only ambitions, but you succeed in producing professional video. What is then the long-term plan for Veritasium?
I've got no idea, but I wanted to get to 1 million upload views, and I'm nearing 700,000 as we speak. So, not that I'm going to stop when I hit 1 million, but that was kind of this goal that I wanted to get to, hopefully by Christmas time. So, if anyone's out there watching, you know, please go and watch a few videos.
And subscribe to the channel, of course.
Subscribe. Why not? But you know, I'm in a very sort of good place at the moment where I'm teaching a bit at a university. I'm doing a bit of tutoring, and I have a lot of time to do these Veritasium films, and also to help out if anyone else wants some film work done. So this is a sustainable project for me. You know, I'm just looking to, as I say, improve with each film. You know, I don't really see any kind of end point, any kind of point where I'd be finished. I mean, I started out wanting to start from the most basic ideas and build them very slowly, piece by piece, almost in a linear fashion, so that at the end of the whole enterprise, you'd be able to watch from, atoms to, seeing this galaxy explode and having the little pieces explained all the way along the way. I mean, that was sort of a guiding light. But I've fallen off that track, and I just do anything that seems interesting to me from time to time. So.
Yeah, I have. It's at the beginning with my videos. I just did what was requested by some subscribers, or basically what I saw was possible for me to realize in a shorter video format. Now I have come a little bit to that I want to put it more into a framework again. So, so you in any sense you or in any way you have years to go, I would say. As there are so many topics, you still could cover. The sustainability aspect was very interesting, I think, because both you and also myself, we have found a way how to make our income. So I think what comes over the videos, so namely the ad revenue, is something nice, but at least in my case, I could not make a living from it. Far from that.
I could definitely not make a living from it either. No, the ad revenue, I still haven't got my first check yet. So, definitely not supporting myself that way.
Yeah, and I think this is also for many people something off-putting. So not necessarily that they want to make a living from it, like from day one, but for educators or tutors or somebody in this context of teaching, I think it is for them hard as teachers, at least in many parts of the world, don't necessarily earn lots of money, and then also the appreciation sometimes from society is not that high, and then to put that much effort in it and say, I don't know, 30 hours a week I produce a video just because I want to put it out there for like-minded people, or maybe educate students, or educational video can be in many senses. So what would you say for somebody really being at the starting point, and to keep going? What would you say? Something motivational there?
It's tough to know what to say. I mean, I know what someone said to me, because it's not that long ago. I was starting sort of making videos in January of this year, and I had a friend say to me, look, people will subscribe, if you think about what you're going to do and you produce the content in a way that, is at least, somewhat thought out and scripted, people will enjoy that, people will appreciate it, and, people will come to appreciate your personality, and people will, get involved by that and get engaged by it, and your following will grow. I mean, this is what, my advisor said to me, which was very wise words, which is just, it's kind of like, there's that old movie, where they say, if you build it, they will come. I don't know if you know this movie. It's an American movie called Bull Durham. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, it's this movie. So it's in the same way. If you start building something, people will come, and the attention will come, and people will appreciate what you do. People always appreciate the little things that you put out there. So
However, what we shouldn't forget, and what I liked about you, is that knowing about some social media and also branding, being stringent with your name, for example. So the website is, of course, Veritasium.com. You are Veritasium on Twitter. You are Veritasium on Facebook. So
But, you know, I couldn't get Veritasium on YouTube, ironically enough. Someone already snuck in there and got Veritasium before me, so I don't know how that happened, but bit unfortunate. But yeah, as soon as I decided on the name, then I wanted to get everything in line with that. I wasn't sure anyone was going to be able to remember Veritasium, but maybe because it's close to the Harry Potter's Veritasium, you know, I've linked on to another.
The Harry Potter at all, so but it's probably my age, so and
I don't think of it either, and frankly, I didn't think of that when I first came up with the name. But you know, most younger people who I say that to, you know, that's immediately what they relate it to. So.
And is it your audience? Like really end of high school, college, university, or is it also people like me who say, oh yeah, I remember I had that in, well, in our system, 10th grade, for example, and good to brush it up again.
I haven't looked that deeply into the analytics, but I think there is a pretty wide range, you know, given by the comments that I see, you know, people who haven't done physics in a long time. And that was somewhat my intended audience was, you know, people who were interested in science, but they hadn't necessarily done science in a bit and sort of, you know, would enjoy that sort of weekly refresher of, oh, yeah, isn't that cool? Or, you know, neat experiments and things. And also, I guess my audience is teachers. A lot of teachers, I think, around the world use my site a bit as a resource, and they bring it into the class and they show various experiments if it's tough to do in class, and yeah, fun to talk to the students about. Also the alternative conceptions, you know, when I go out on the street and I talk to people, you know, bringing up those ideas I think is very useful in a classroom, because then you get to discuss it with your students and, oh, why would people think that? Why is this a common idea? And from that, you know, you help go towards the actual scientific conception.
Great. Then in my little when in our previous question, so when I talked about your website, once again, veritasium.com, and then on Twitter @Veritasium, anywhere else or any other thing you would like to point people to? So what is then your YouTube channel actually?
It is the #1 Veritasium.
Ah, yeah. I see. Yeah, so maybe you could have a talk with the other guy, depending if they use that channel or.
They don't use the channel. I sent them a direct message to ask for the channel, but they haven't responded.
Yeah, I hear that story rather often. Yeah, that's sad. So yeah, anything else? So people in our audience who would like to know more about you, what's the best way?
They can send me an email at veritasium@gmail.com. Yeah.
So then, Derek, all the best for the next videos to come, and that was really fun talking with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.